Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. And this is episode 29. And today we have a phenomenal guest on.
Man, already.
Phenomenal. Before we get into it, just a quick overview for all the new listeners out there. This podcast is all about empowering you to live the life that you deserve. And with that being said, if you could just do me a huge favor and just share this podcast with one other person that may need to hear this message, or someone that's just interested into listening to a podcast, send them to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. It's going to be a great conversation today. And with that being said, my guest, he's a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, and he just has a really great story. And when I met him, it was just a lot of great energy.
Yeah.
My man, Shannon Lombard. How you doing?
Good, Chris, good. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on. So I just have to tell the people real quick how we met.
Please, it's crazy.
It's crazy. We're filming this on a Friday.
Yeah.
And what day did we meet? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
We met on a Tuesday. He came into our office.
Less than an hour.
He wasn't even coming for me. He was going to have a conversation with somebody else.
Yeah.
And you guys know me. I'm just super curious. I asked a ton of questions, and we started chopping it up for like a good 45 minutes. I was like, bro, have you been on a podcast?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Just like that. You're like, hey, man, would you mind being on a podcast? You're like, nah.
Yeah.
When are we doing it?
My wife always says, closed mouths don't get fed.
That's it, man.
Like,
That's it.
Let's do it. So next time, we got to have your wife on as well.
Oh, yeah. She's got the other 95% of what I don't have.
Okay. For sure. So, yeah, we can just get started with talking about your early life. I know when we were in the office, you were talking about you grew up in South Central LA.
Yeah.
You go ahead and talk about that and stuff there.
Yeah. I grew up in South Central LA, Killer King Hospital, for all of y'all that know, right? I lived there till I was 10, right? It was actually like my 10, I was 9, just about going out to 10.
What part?
I was right there on 104th and Figueroa.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I used to stay, right? And my grandparents still lived there. It was the same house that my dad and the other, 8 of them grew up in. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, right? Just the usual South Central bungalow, you know? And I was born, from what I know, they had an apartment that, we kind of were in. And then when I was super, super young, I don't even remember it, we moved directly next door to my grandparents. So literally the driveway was shared, right?
Wow.
So in the mornings when, hey mom, I'm a young boy, cereal, milk, right? Mom was like, nah, you know what I mean? Kind of like that breakfast talk. I'd hit that back door, walk across the driveway, and right in Granny's back door, Wow. She was like, okay, well, what you want? I don't know, Granny, she'd have a whole spread.
Whatever you want.
Whatever I wanted. You know how it is. Whatever I wanted. So it was me, my brother, and my sister. We literally grew up directly next to our own grandparents. And, that really shaped a lot for me when it comes to just family and foundation, And same thing with my wife, like she grew up, she was at her grandparents' house like every day. Like that's just normal. So when we got together, it's like, it's her parents and my parents, with our kids. And every single weekend our kids are gone, at least one day, because, they want to be at either her parents' house or my parents' house, doesn't matter. But for us, we love that, absolutely love that. Like family is just so important, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, unfortunately, are kind of losing that vibe, And for us, it's so important to just hold on to that.
Right, take it for granted.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So, grew up directly next door to Granny and Pop, and I'll tell you this is a day I'll never forget. We literally moved from South Central to the IE, Inland Empire, on April Fool's Day.
You're like, is this a joke?
Right, dude, like for real. Like that was like, we had a white 1990s.
You were looking around like, this gotta be a joke.
Yeah, this is crazy, right? Like, it's like looking back, I don't even remember like a moving van. I don't even remember boxes. I don't remember none of that, right? And I'm like 9 years old, And I remember we had a 1990 Ford Aerostar van, white, right? Pops was like, all right, y'all get in the van. We were like, all right, And then we started driving, and we keep driving, and we kept driving. It was like, we've never been this far. And also, we pull up to this house. It was just like, here's our new house. We was like, wait a minute, like no time to process, right?
What part of that?
What are we doing? So we actually moved right into Chino Hills, and it's the same house that we moved, and my parents are still in.
Wow.
You know, like after 20, I don't even remember how long it is, but literally April Fool's Day, bro, we moved.
That's funny. Just a quick story. So I moved all over as well. I was born in LA.
Yeah.
We moved to Portland, Oregon. Lived out there for like a good 9-10 years.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Sacramento. And that's where I grew up.
Right.
But we moved from Portland to Sacramento on April 11th, which is my birthday. So
happy birthday, Chris.
We were driving, and it's like a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, dude, you're driving forever, right?
I was like, so what am I? I was like 12 or something. What am I getting for my birthday? This is your gift. You're getting a new home. And it was like the same thing. It was just night and day. Like, bro, this is completely different.
Like, no time to process nothing. Dude.
Like, oh my God.
I moved in the middle of the school year, right? So I middle of the school year. I showed up, bro. I'm in the 3rd grade, right? I walk into class and I'm just like, wow. That's all I can say, right? I was just like, where am I? You know?
Oh my God, that's insane.
It was crazy, man. It was crazy. So that was like that just boom. You know what I mean? That was like that one major moment. Mm-hmm. You know, like as a kid, we're like, I'll never forget, you know, like such a significant day, like April Fool's Day. Mm-hmm. So literally every April Fool's, like call my parents, like, hey, happy anniversary.
Like if you don't cut it out.
Happy house anniversary. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Crazy. So that's fun.
Just to move along. So you mentioned that you were a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
So you can talk about that. How did you get into that? Like, what made you want to go into that field?
So back when this was like, I was around like 13 or 14. We grew up playing sports, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my brother.
What sports?
We played basketball, baseball.
Gotcha.
Right.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Ayala. That's Ayala right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we played basketball and baseball. My brother was a basketball, he was a big time basketball cat. And just to kind of give you an idea, I'm not a small dude, right? Mm-hmm. I'm 6 feet. Mm-hmm. My brother is 6'7". You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's just that everybody's like, yo, what happened to you? I'm like, bro, I'm not small. Just standing next to him is not fair.
You know what? Just not to interrupt, but another funny story. It's the same thing with my pops and I. My dad. So I'm like 6 foot as well, and he's like 6'4", but like 250.
Like solid.
And I'm like 180 on a good day.
Like still wet. You know?
Right. Soaking wet.
Yeah. I know it, dude. I got two. So my mom's side is tall, right? Like 100%. So I've got 2 cousins. They're 6'8" and 6'9", right? And then my brother. So we walk around and look like a starting 5. Like I'm clearly the point guard.
Right.
Clearly, okay. I'm not even coming off the bench. Like, yo, just pass me the ball when we get down the court. You know. So I'm like, duh. So anyway, we were playing sports our whole life, right? And I got to the point to where you start hitting them teenage years. You start tripping. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And pops don't play at all. Like not even a little bit. So. Just because the school has a certain standard and criteria, that is not Pop's standard and criteria. You know what I mean? So when I started falling below his criteria, he's like, all right, man, sports is out, bro. Like, you better figure it out. So, naturally, instead of being that dude, I'm going to pull up my bootstraps and I'm going to get better grades. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, shit then. I'm going to do something else. Mm-hmm. Dumb. So what I wound up doing is I wanted to keep that, same athlete feel and just be busy doing something. So he found an Explorer program for me, right in Ontario. Okay, so there was a junior firefighter Explorer program. I'm 13, 14, and I wound up doing it, and I loved it. Because I'm like using different, parts of my brain. You know what I mean? Different challenges, things like that. So I did it for a while, and that was like that bug that kind of bit. And, fast forward through high school, I was just still being the usual rebel teenager and for no reason. like who? I'm not hurting anybody, just me, you know what I'm saying? So after that, dude, I graduated and, for Pops, he's like, so what you gonna do, bro? Like, you're not sitting around here, like you're grown, get out. So I wound up joining the military. And when I went into the military, I had like every intention on joining it with a purpose of having a firefighter background and being a firefighter, because he was in the military. I've got a lot of family. I've got a big time family military background. So he was in the military. He's like, you're not going to there. Your uncle did that. You're not going there. Your uncle did that. You're not going there. I did that. So here's your only option, you know? So when I went to go apply in the whole 9 yards, you know, they said, hey, firefighter, you know, the fire academy is full, obviously because everybody probably wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so Pops was like, cool, you're not waiting around, so just get in there anyway, you know, and then figure it out later. So that's what I wound up doing. I literally went in just on a regular trade, got a bunch of certs and stuff, but I still had that, you know, man, like this day that I can apply, I'm gonna do it, no questions. So 3 years, literally 3 years to the day, boom, I applied for it and I got picked up, right? So I wound up going to the fire academy, you know, loved it. Excuse me, I loved it. And, you know, got a chance to still travel the world, you know, went all over the place, Middle East, all kind of places. And then I came home after like my last one, and I was like, all right, man, I'm done. Like, I gotta do something else, you know?
How long were you doing that for?
So I was in the military for 5 years, 8 months, and 17 days. Not that I counted, but I know. I just know right off rip, you know? But check this out. Like, here's the crazy part. So when I came back, I was on my last deployment. I was in Afghanistan. I came home, and, you know, they were offering a certain program where, you know, if you applied for it, you know, you could get an early release. So I went in, and I was like, hey, man, I'm out of here. You know, is it possible? They're like, well, you qualified technically, you know, all this other stuff. And then they just literally asked me, it was like, hey, so what day do you want to get out? Right? And I was like, I think it was probably like July. And
April 1st.
Yeah, right? It's like April. But check this out. So it was like July. So I said, you know, September 30th. Like literally just out of nowhere. September 30th. So they were like, all right, gives you like, you know, X amount of months. And then, you know, have a good life, that type of stuff. And then I called my pops, and I told him, Pop, I said, hey man, I know I just got back. I said, but I'm out of here. He said, what do you mean? So I applied for it, they accepted me, and he's like, when you getting out? And I said, September 30th, right? And he was quiet. And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, that's the same exact day that I discharged from the military.
Whoa.
Like, so many years back, right? Like, I was just like, what?
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy, right?
That's
wild. So anyway, dude, like September 29th came, right? And I had a bunch of time off, so your boy's coming in looking like a bum, you know what I mean? My hair's long, beard's out, and I'm literally just going to go sign some paperwork. And a really close friend of mine, who was actually one of my higher ups, he was walking out at the same exact time I was walking in. I hadn't seen this dude in a long time. So I'm walking in, he's walking out, and he kind of stopped. He's like, hey, what are you doing here? I was like, man, I'm out. He's like, really? I was like, what are you doing now? And I was like, he's like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, honestly, I haven't been home for the holidays in like 5 years. You know? Something crazy. I was like, I know I'm just going to go home and go for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And after that, I don't know. So he's like, all right, would you like a job in Africa? Like, straight up. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man, I just got picked up. I'm going to Africa. And he's like, I was like, when are you leaving? He's like, in a few weeks. And I was like, I just kind of stood there. I was like, man, you know, it's like that crossroads moment. You know what I mean? So
real quick,
yeah.
Did you meet your wife or?
No. This is all me, dude. Like this is way before. Yeah, I wouldn't have done any of this stuff. Right. Yeah, no. This was back in my single. Let's go hit the town. You know, let's go figure out stuff. So anyway, so I'm crossing him, and you know, he says that, and I was like, you know what? Or he said, you know what? I'm gonna email you as soon as the holidays are over. Are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Sure enough, dude, like the first or second week in January, boom, I get an email from him. Hey man, I'm out here, you know, just seeing if you're curious or not. And I just stood there, I was like, dude, why not, bro? So I emailed him back, heck yeah, I'm on my way, you know? So he sent me a bunch of the paperwork, I went through and literally 3 weeks later, I'm landing in Africa.
What part?
I actually lived in Djibouti, Africa, right? So if you look at the Horn of Africa, right? The very, 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 very tip of the horn. So I'm between Somalia, Ethiopia, and Eritrea. That's where I was. So it's a French republic, and it's like this big, dude. Like 100%. The capital of Djibouti is Djibouti, right? They're just like, man, we're not coming up with different stuff. We're just going to do it.
Right.
So I lived there almost 2 years, man.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And what were you doing out there?
So I was just doing government contract work, you know?
Okay.
So I'm the type, man. It's like I don't care what anybody else says. I gotta go see it for myself. You know, like if you're concerned with what other people say, then you're never gonna do anything. You know, so my experience there was something that I'll never forget. You know, and if I would have listened to a couple of people that I told that I was gonna do it, I just sat at home. You know, so I wanted to move out there, man, for 2 years, dude, almost, and it was bananas. I had the time of my life. It was amazing. You know, and then I came back. Right, I came back because you know it was one of those things where like, all right, I got to come up with something else. Like I'm that dude, you know. Like I'll wake up and I'll be like, all right, that's it. Like what do you mean that's it? I'm like, I've been doing it for a while. Like I'm ready, you know. Let's just do something else. So I came home, you know, started hanging out. I got my own apartment, you know. That's when I went up to Richmond. So when I stayed up in Richmond for a little bit.
You up there?
A girl. You know, I went back up there and I was just like, yeah, you know, I'm established and get a life, Shit, that lasted a couple months. And then
you're like, what's next?
Yeah, you know, and then my cousin and my buddies, they drove up with the U-Haul, you know, said threw all my stuff in. We drove back down south. And it's funny because, you know, I've been to more countries, I've been to states. But it doesn't matter. Like I was gone for right around 10 years. Right, like my whole 10-year adult life, I was gone from like high school till then, and I've always known that I was gonna be back in Southern California. You know, I just it's just one of those things. You know what I mean? You got that tug, you got that pull. You just know you're gonna be like where your heart is gonna take you. Right. So anyway, so I came home, you know, for a girl, didn't work out. Went back down south. And then I find myself like, you know, just doing just some odds and ends. I got bored, blew through a bunch of money, you know what I mean? Just hanging out with buddies. And then all of a sudden I started working, you know, construction and stuff. Because that's what my family does. A lot of my family, they do a lot of construction and stuff. So I'm thinking to myself like, man, got out the military, had this crazy experience in Africa, and now I'm just doing construction, you know? And I'm not knocking that whatsoever. But for me, I was like, I gotta figure something out. It just wasn't for me. So so that's when I applied for my absolute 100% dream job. And that was working as a professional firefighter for the city of LA, right? I'm like, dude, I'm born and raised here. Like, this is my hood. Like, this is where I'm from. Like, why wouldn't I get, like, marry the most prestigious job, you know, one of the most prestigious jobs that people see with, you know, my hometown? So I applied for it, and everything was going. It just kept clicking. You know, everything kept moving, and I wasn't really worried about it. You know, I'm like, man, like I'm pretty solid. You know, I'm pretty sure that they would want a guy like me. Of course, you know, ego talking. So I got to a point all the way up to where they said, hey, you know, like we need some certain, you know, requirement from you, and I didn't have it anymore because I was in Africa for 2 years, and then I just kind of started thinking about it. I was like, man, I think this is like one of those crossroads again, right? Because at the same time I'm applying for all that stuff, I got a couple of buddies that are still spread around the world, right? And they're like, hey man, why don't you come work over here with us? You know, hey, because it's such a small, tight-knit community. Hey, come work over here, right? And I had a buddy in Iraq, and then I had another buddy off on an island right off of the coast of South America, Curacao. That's where it was. He was like, dude, come work down here with me, right? So I literally just kind of went through the process of like, I'm like, you know what, let me just put my hand out on all of these things, you know? And then I got to the point where I'm, you know, like a couple months in, I'm just like, you know what, whoever calls me first, I'm going. You know, I just had that mentality. It was like, if Iraq calls me first, I'm going. Curacao calls me first, I'm going. If LA calls me first, I'm sticking around. And sure enough, man, I'm literally down in Irvine, and it's, you know, I think it was probably around summertime, and I'm just digging, you know, just cement. And I kept talking to because I'm out there with my uncles and my cousin, and they were like, dude, like, you don't need to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, go do what you're supposed to do, right? So I told my uncle that morning, hey, I'm gonna get a phone call today. And whenever it is, that's where I'm going. He's like, but you better get out of here. So sure enough, my phone rings, and I'm like, what the heck? Right. I told him, I was like, my phone's ringing. He's like, boy, get out of here, go get it, you know? So I pick it up, and they were offering me a position as a contractor out in Iraq. So I was like, cool, when do I leave? She said, a couple weeks, can you be here? Yeah, absolutely, right? So I went, finished up my day. I was like, all right, I'm out of here, you know what I mean? And 2 weeks later, I moved to Iraq, and I was there for a year. So,
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, like I said, whoever called me first, I'm out, and that's exactly what happened. So they called me, and I was like, psh. And it's funny because I told the city of LA, I was like, listen, I've got another opportunity. I don't know. I can't explain it. Like you said, I can't explain it, but I know I have to do this, right? Because I just didn't feel in my heart like I was ready. I wasn't settled yet. Like I still had some more stuff to see, some more stuff to do. So man, when you get that gut punch, when you get that feeling, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. So anyway, so I went out there for a year, man. I had a great time. I loved it. And then I came home, and when I came home, I said, all right, I'm good. I'm done. Everything's, I got it all out of my system. And then let me start reapplying and everything for LA City. And within a few months of that, I believe it was, is when I'd probably say like 5 months or so after I got back, is when I got the call and I got hired with the city of LA.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was dude, all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
all over the world,
dude.
Came back.
Hey, listen, your journey, you gotta go with it, man. Yeah. You have to, because otherwise you're just gonna be, I went from here to here. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but how many other opportunities did you have that you didn't take? If you got a chance, man, just go. Yeah. Especially it was me by myself. All I had to do is, hey, mom, hey, dad. I'm moving to Iraq. What? Yeah, I'll be back in a little bit, All right. Let me pray for you.
How were they with that? Like, them being from South Central, maybe they didn't go out as much as you did?
Well, it's funny. My dad was in the Navy.
Okay.
Right? He was in the Navy.
He did say that.
So he got a chance to, see a few things, but it wasn't, he always said it wasn't necessarily like the way we got to, the way I got to.
Even, I'm sure, like, your friends growing up, like...
Yeah.
You mentioned like they just stuck around.
Right.
Didn't see how much.
And I mean, it doesn't mean that they weren't successful.
Right.
It was just a different type of success. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm like, man, I'm trying to get a new passport book. Like let's hit these places, and that is what still keeps me like, man, I'm just trying to make this money so I can go travel, so I can see different parts of the world. Like you can't National Geographic everything. You gotta just get your passport, jump on a plane, and just go. Grab a backpack.
Yeah, I know for me that was like, because I've done a little bit of traveling, not as much as you, but it's like one of the best ways for me to learn. It's through experiences and just traveling and just like being there in person. And,
yes.
Just seeing it with your eyes.
Seeing it with your own eyes, man.
Because in school, they'll teach you about. I don't know, like, Washington, D.C. or something like that.
Right.
And, like, everything that goes on over there in the museums, but it's like, it doesn't resonate with you until you actually go there and you're standing in front of all these things. It's amazing, And even, like, I've been to Japan. Yeah. And even experiencing that culture as well is just, like...
Crazy, right?
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, crazy.
Mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Sure. It's funny you say Japan. One of my... It's just a, little sidebar. One of my biggest... and most proud accomplishments is, it was a couple of years ago now, probably 3 years ago now. Me and Steph, we set out to send our parents on a trip, right? And we sent my parents to Japan for 10 days, right? And we took care of everything. And then we sent her parents to Hawaii, and we took care of everything. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where if we didn't send them, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't send my parents, like, they probably would have never experienced Japan. But they still talk about it. They still talk about it, And I love that. You know what I mean? I absolutely love that. And going back into traveling, it's funny, like, I remember, like, 4th grade, something like that, I did a book report on India. And it was OG, like, way back when, like, the encyclopedias were out. Like, we didn't have Google to go find India, you know what I mean? Like, I'm literally flipping through pages in the eye, I got an A on the book report, but I learned nothing. You know what I'm saying? And for me, and for Stephanie, like, we're looking at it like, listen, when the kids start getting to that point and they got to go learn about a country, we're going to go take a week off and we're going to go to the country and we're going to go take pictures and we're going to go live the culture and we're going to, like, that's how you learn. You're not gonna learn just off of watching, you know, a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not gonna learn just by Googling, you know, hey, so what's the population, whatever. No, like let's go. You know, we've been working hard enough. That's why we work so hard.
For sure.
So we have those opportunities.
So what's your favorite place that you guys have been to?
Together, I would say Jamaica. We went to Jamaica. Jamaica was fire.
We're actually going there. We're going there in May.
Oh, see, there you go. Shoot, hey,
funny.
Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica was fire, 100%. We've been to Mexico a bunch of times. You know, Dominican Republic. Like the way that we look at it two different ways, right? There's trips and there's vacations, right? A trip, that's when you go sightsee. You know what I'm saying? Like you go, you know, you have the guys and all that other stuff. Vacation, bro, we're hitting the beach.
Yeah.
And leave us alone.
Right.
Don't talk to us about it. Just let it happen, you know? So we're always on the last couple of years, minus last year. Well, I'll tell you what. Jamaica was one, and Fiji. We went to Fiji last year. Man, you talking about an experience? Dude. Like, it's one of those things that you can't, you know, you see it on National Geographic, like I keep saying, right? You see it on Discovery Channel, you know, the oceans and this and that. Dude, until you step foot in that water, I don't want to hear it, you know? Until you're coming down in the airplane with a prop and like 9 seats and you're buzzing the trees to land on a dirt runway, like, I don't want to hear it, bro.
That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. That was Fiji. Until you do that, I don't want to hear it, you know? That's traveling right there.
Wow. That's
Hey, when you see that, when you look straight ahead and both of the pilots are holding like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know if we're gonna land this
yeah,
thing,
like you haven't lived. You haven't lived, man. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's crazy.
That's where I am, dude. That's the way we roll, you know? So like we set it up. Our whole main goal is every 4 months go somewhere. Every 3 months, actually. So we wind up having like 4 trips throughout the year, right? 2 with the kids and then 2 with us. And thank God, you know, my parents are so unbelievable with the kids, and her parents are so unbelievable with the kids that we'll go. Like, we went to Fiji for 11 days, I think it was, right? Travel time and everything. Kids were good. School, homework, all it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. So we're spoiled when it comes to like that family foundation, you know, completely spoiled.
Yeah, that's crazy because my wife and I, we always talk about creating a life that we don't have to, because when I think of the word vacation, I think of like leaving what you're doing and like leaving reality.
Yeah.
You know how people say, "Oh, it's time to go back to
time to
reality."
escape.
Time to escape.
Yeah.
So like, I want to be able to create a life where we don't need to like take a vacation because we're sick of our job, we're sick of whatever the case may be.
Right.
So that's crazy that you guys take 4 trips.
Oh yeah, that's our thing, and we've had like such a long gap. We went to Fiji, and then
Puerto Rico.
No, that's on the list,
okay,
right? Yeah, that's yeah, right. That's on the list, 100%, right? There's a few that are on the list. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's on the list this year? Greece is on the list. Ooh. Yeah, 100%. Greece is on the list. Going back to Mexico. Mexico is just like super easy for us, you know, and the kids love it. But then they haven't really been anywhere else yet, you know, so all they talk about is Mexico, right? So Greece, Hawaii is on it, Mexico, and then we've got like a 4th surprise. We don't know what we're going to do yet, you know what I mean? But it's just like, let's do it, you know? And for us, it's not, oh my gosh, I got to get away. No, it's like, you know, let's go there and let's make something out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Experience something, right? And then let's let our imagination run wild. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, we were literally, when we came back from Fiji, like for a solid month, we're just like, how in the world do we move there? How in the world? Like, that's the type of places I want to go to, you know?
That's crazy because when I come back from trips, it's never like, oh, I'm going back to reality. Like, I'm actually excited to go back home. I'm trying to figure out, how do I do this again?
How do I do it again?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, how do I do it again? How do I do it better? How do I do it sooner?
Right,
you know what I mean? And how do I make, you know, because like you'll be there and there's like certain things you're like, man, next time, you know? Next time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Next time. And that's us. 100%. And that's one of the only places where we said we are absolutely no questions asked coming back to, you know? for me, I'm, it's just my quirkiness. Like, I don't like to backtrack. I'm like, well, we already been there. Let's go here now, Let's go check this place out. Let's go that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But Fiji, oh man, like we were literally, how do we move here? How do we do it? And it just started getting us on like that imagination station. Let's just start mapping this stuff out.
Have you been to Dubai?
Oh yeah, a few times.
What?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I told her already. I said, listen, that is one place we have to go together.
Oh, you guys haven't been together?
We haven't been together. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, like there was post marriage, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of pre-marriage, right? However, all the pre-marriage that I did, it wouldn't have happened if I was married. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
And it wasn't because of any other reason, but I wanted to do it for myself. You know what I mean? And when you talk to her, like, there's so much stuff that she did way before me. I'm just like, dude, you just get that, you just have like that vibe. You're like, geez, you've been to a ton of places. You've done a lot of stuff too. All right, we could definitely click. Right, right. As opposed to like, yeah, I live 9 miles from the beach and I've never been there. You know what I mean? Like, they got people like that. It's crazy. It's like they won't even leave their own block. Literally.
Yeah, it's crazy. I totally agree, bro.
Yeah.
We were talking about that our last conversation, but now I'm super curious how you guys got into like the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Like what was the transition like?
All right. So I was full-time firefighting, right? I'm gonna tell you the backstory so that way that we shouldn't have ever done it. Okay, check this. I'm full-time firefighting, right? So I'm 24-hour shifts on, 24 off, right? And I'd work a 3-day or 6-day block where I'd be on 3 days and then I'd have off 4. And then at the same time, she's full-time nursing because she's the type where both of us are completely blessed, man. Like, without a doubt. We both had the opportunity to work and be in the career field that we dreamt about. You know what I mean? Like, how many people can honestly say that? Like, there was no questions asked in my mind that I was going to be a professional firefighter. And there was no questions in my mind that I was going to work for the city of LA. I said it years before I even started, She went to school and got her bachelor's in nursing, you know what I mean? And then she gets out, she'll tell you the whole story. She gets out and she's been a nurse for 15 years now, So I'm full-time firefighting, she's full-time nursing, and we've got 2 toddlers. Perfect time to go start a business, right. You know what I'm saying? We've got no business capital, right? We've got no business sense, and we got no business opening up a business, you know what I'm saying? So we got all 3 of them things going against us, right? However, with that being said, we had the 2 things that all you need is 2 things, man. You just need heart and determination. That's it, man. If you got a heart for this and you got determination to get stuff done, you're gonna figure it out, right? So we were in that moment where we were hanging out with friends, we were with family a lot, and we just, it was like we're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, yay, we're off. Let's go have a bunch of drinks. And then watch TV till late. Yeah, watch TV till late, and then do it again next weekend, or do it again on our next break. You know what I'm saying? And it just started feeling like that hamster. I mean, now mind you, like, we're in 2 of probably the most revered career fields, and we are like losing our mind. Her more than me, 100%. So this is what she, her Shark Tank idea, right? Like, everybody loves that show. You know what I mean? Like, you watching Shark Tank, you're like, bro, I could have done that. Well, why didn't you? Right. Man, I could have invented that rubber thing. Well, you didn't. You know what I'm saying? My man here did, and now he just got, funding for like $1 billion, whatever, So that was her. She was like, I remember one night in particular, right? Like, we had, hanging out, had a bunch of drinks, doing the usual, and she turns, like, we're hanging out. She turns off the TV. Right? We're not even at our house, but they're close enough to us that whatever. So we're all like tripping. We're like, what is she talking about now? Right? She's like, what is our Shark Tank idea, guys? Like, what is our $1 million idea? Right? And sometimes, dude, all you have to do is just say it. Right? When you say it, and then your brain starts picking up, and then that subconscious, people always talk about that stuff, not to be spooky, but it's real, dude. Yeah. It's 100% real. What's our $1 million idea? Like, what are we gonna do? We're just sitting around, drinking every weekend, going to work, we got the kids, like, what are we gonna do, right? And of course, you know, we're throwing tomatoes at her, you know what I'm saying? Sit down, turn on VH1, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just like crazy, you know? It's crazy. So I'll tell you, dude, from that night, within a month, we were having a conversation with the right person, okay? This is how it happened. She was actually, we just had our second kid, and I always say we, you know, like I put on baby weight too. Anyway, she put on all the weight, right? But I'm just being lazy. So she had this opportunity to go work out at a boot camp style place right down the street from us, right? And we still work out there now. So this was like 2015, okay? 2015, and just sometimes, man, like you just have to have your eyes open for an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like when you're actively searching for it, you'll see it. But when you're not searching for it, man, it's gonna pass you by every single time, you know? So she was already in that mode, right? Of searching for something, okay? So literally there was a post up on Facebook about an opportunity to help an already first started franchise just kind of expand and grow, right? And mind you, this was a fitness center. We're both into fitness, but we don't know a lick about business, right? So she came to me. It was like, hey look, like I saw this post. You know, would you be interested in just going to have a conversation, right? It's like I have no intention on opening up a business, but if we could have an opportunity to sit down and talk to somebody for an hour for free about business, it might spark something, right? Like it might start getting these, you know, start activating that side of the brain, whatever it may be. And you know, for me, I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. So boom, instantly, like, and dude, if you don't act, bro, it's gonna skip you every time. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's there, you gotta act. You have to. So instantly, dude, she's like, boom, hey, can we set up a conversation, right? Text message right back. Yeah, absolutely. How's tomorrow at like, you know, 11 o'clock? And so we were like, perfect. Now, mind you, this was Thursday, okay? On Friday, we're leaving with friends to go to Cancun, okay, for the weekend, because we're in our usual routine. Right. So Thursday, and we're driving, right? This is the part right here where it's just like, all right, we're driving there. My brother and my cousin live in Long Beach, okay? And they've been there forever. And, you know, they're both kind of like, man, like, what do we do next? You know, like that type of thing, you know? What do we do next? And, you know, so we've always been close. So we're driving there, and Stephanie says, what if, she's like, wouldn't that be crazy if they said there was an opportunity in Long Beach, right? She's like, I know that they said, you know, we want to expand out of state, but wouldn't that be crazy if there was something in Long Beach? She's like, and then we could get Mike to train, you know, and then we could get, you know, Bree to my cousin, and we could get her to, you know, run the thing, and then we could try to figure this all out together as a family, right? And so we're laughing, ha ha ha, whatever. We get into the meeting, 15 minutes in, he says, you know what? We have this spot in Long Beach that we were looking at. I know that we said out of state, but we have this spot in Long Beach. Do you guys know where that is? She's just kicking me on the table, dude. Kicking me on the table, right? And I'm just like, no way, okay? No way. So we're just like, all right, you know, just hold on, step back, but we're not saying it. Yeah. We're just still having a conversation, right? So he's like, would you guys be interested if I talk to my partners in there, because they're kind of iffy about it?
You guys are like,
we'll think about it. We'll think about it. So he was like, okay, cool, right? So we were in there for an hour, and I mean, he's breaking everything down, you know, not a sales thing, just like, hey, look, this is what we're looking to do. What are you guys interested in doing? You know, so we're still saying stuff to him back and forth, and then he was like, okay, you know, if you guys are on it, shoot, here's a contract right here, you know, we can lock you guys in, boom. So like now we're pulling out paperwork, right? Like this rocket ship just left the launch pad, bro. We didn't even know it. It was such a smooth ride. We were like, yo, where are we right now? Wow. So we leave, And dude, that car ride was just like crickets. The whole ride. Crickets. We're just like, did that really just happen? Okay? We get home, and now mind you, I said we're leaving tomorrow. Okay? We go to Cancun, and we have the worst time. Because all we're thinking about is that.
Wow.
Right? Like, that's all we're thinking about. Like, literally, like, we're like on our third or fourth drink in the pool. Which, are we really gonna do this? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, we don't have any money. We got, you know, the house is great, everything's fine. We don't have any business money. We don't know what the heck we're doing with the business, right? But if you start talking about it and it starts lining up, you better just figure it out, bro. Okay? So check this out. We get back from Mexico, and she works on Monday, okay? We get back on Sunday. She works on Monday. I'm off. The kids are gone, I think. She wakes up to leave to go to work. I'm laying in the bed. She's like, hey, so I sent Sam an email, right? Shout out to Sam Bakhtiar. Like, he's our mentor, dude. Like, I'm going to tell you about him. Like, if you don't have a mentor right now, you need to have one. No questions asked, okay? Because they are going to help you tremendously. So anyway, we get back home, and she's like, hey, so I thought about it, and I don't think we could do it. So I sent Sam an email, and I let him know, hey, we're going to pass. Bro, do you know how fast I jumped out of that bed, bro? Trip is though, she's literally like already in the car by the time she finished saying it. She's in the car. I jump up, dude. I'm in the garage. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought we said we were going to do it. Then she was like, okay, if you could fix it, just fix it. Bye. Garage door closes, bro. Oh. I'm like, what happened? Okay? Wow. I literally grabbed my phone. I text Sam. I emailed him. Hey, dude, she sent you an email. Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't read it, right? And I sent him an email. I said, hey, open this email before you open hers. Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't read it. So we started, you know, sweet LOLs back. All right, don't worry about it. Dude, 6 weeks later, we were open. 6 weeks later, we were brick and mortar open in our first business.
How was that feeling?
Crazy. Scary, anxiety, stress, laughter, fear, elation, all of it, dude. All at the same time, you know? All at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. So literally 6 weeks we were open, and we went through some crazy ups and downs, right? But we opened, and we were in a small little, barely 2,000 square foot space, and we were pushing so hard that our clients were like busting out the back door. So you got a decision to make. You either stick around and start losing people, or you grow. And that's what we did. So 365 days to the day that we opened the year before, we tripled in size in a brand new facility. You got to do it.
Yeah. You
have to do it, right? So mind you, we're running the business. We're growing like crazy.
You got kids.
We got kids, right? I'm still full-time. She's full-time. And I decided to, hey, I want to go back to school and get my degree.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
That's going to be the title of the podcast.
You got to do it.
You got to do it. I swear it's going to be the title. I swear.
You got to do it. That's it.
Wow. See, and this is why I wanted to get you on. We haven't even
touched anything yet.
We haven't even scratched the surface about what we talked about. Yeah. I really wanted to get you on, and like you guys that are listening, you can do it. I mean, you see how much they got going on. You can see how much they had going on with the kids and school and work and the business, but they still made it happen. And we really want to empower you guys to live the life that you deserve.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have to design it. You have to, and dude, there was a point where it was just clicking. Excuse me, it was clicking, and I was like, man, this is that feeling that people talk about, like this is like that, that hum, you know what I mean? Where just everything is just boom, 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 And then to, nice little segue, it was humming and then it wasn't. And it literally happened that fast. And then that's part of the conversation where you and I had. It was humming and then it wasn't.
Got you.
And that's the only way to explain it. And that's still the only way to explain it for me. And before I do that though, let me backtrack. I got my degree in business organizational management, right? And this is just a little vision piece, right? A little forward thinking. When we first moved in here in our house where we are right now, we first moved in here in our office. I put her degree like way high, right? And she had asked me. She came home and she's like, "Why'd you put it so high?" And I'm like, "Because I need to have room for mine, And I didn't take a class for 5 years, but that spot was always there, and I always looked at it, and I always knew that no matter what, I was going to finish that goal. It had nothing to do with, oh man, I better get my degree so I can go out there and do all this stuff. I was already running a business, we were already 7 figures, right? And it was just a goal that I had for me personally that I had to accomplish. No matter how long the goal takes, put it there, set forth, and eventually you're gonna make that happen, So literally, I didn't take a class for 5 years.
But I love how you guys are always like manifesting what you guys want to do.
Yeah.
In some type of way, whether it's speaking it or moving that degree up to the top, you guys are manifesting it in some type of way.
Yeah.
You guys are not scared to speak about it and talk about it, put it out there.
Dude, we talk vision all the time. All the time. And there's plenty of stuff where she's like, all right, I know this might sound nuts. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Tell me, Like, who was it just the other day? And I mean, shoot, I'm going to say it right now. Just the other day, she was like, well, 2 things that's funny she said. She's like, we're going to have a Netflix show. I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know what. I have no idea. We're going to have a Netflix show. What do you say to that? Okay. Right? And then just the other day, like that was about a year or so ago. So it's still going to happen. Just the other day, she was like, we're going to be on Oprah's world tour. And I'm like, okay. What do you say to that? You got to say it, man. Yeah, you have to say it, right? You have to say it because this is the way we operate. We backtrack everything, okay? Reverse engineer, dude. We're here. This is where we want to be. So how the heck do we work backwards? What is that going to look like? You know what I'm saying? What is that journey going to look like? Oh, okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Now let's just retrace the steps that we did, And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exact. There's no way. However, if you have like a legitimate blueprint, map, whatever it is that you want to call it, your brain is going to start putting things together and articulating it, And in a spiritual sense, whatever it is that, your listeners out there are, God's going to put it together or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to happen, right? And it's not to be, oh, no questions asked, every single thing that you wish for is going to happen. That's not what it is. Like there's plenty of stuff that we have put out there that didn't happen. However, because we were so tough on that track, something else popped and we were like, wait a minute, where did this come from? It's because we were already pursuing something else crazy up here. We were already pushing ourselves to get way up here. Even though this didn't happen, holy smokes, what in the world is this? Let's go check this out.
Got you. Wow.
You gotta do it, man.
That's crazy. So, do you want to get into...
Let's do it.
All right, go ahead.
Let's talk about it. So, when I said it was all good until it wasn't, I mean, like, it wasn't, man.
By the way, we have like 20 minutes.
All right, let's make it happen. So, it was one of those things, man, where I started not feeling myself, I started just, like, there was just something off, you know what I mean? It was off emotionally, because I'll tell you right now, like, I was at, like, I felt physically like I was at my peak, you know what I mean? Like, I'm firefighting, I got my own gym, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like that dude, I'm that guy, supplements, all that stuff. Anyway, and you think that, you think on the surface it was good, dude, but, there are times we're literally in the middle of building a 7-figure business and I can't even get out of bed, right? And that's not me, The times in, I'd be at work, man, and I'd be at work, I'd be with my boys, everything would be great. It wouldn't matter what happened at work. But as soon as they came home, man, I'm just snapping. You know what I mean? Snapping at my wife, snapping at the kids for no reason, And I mean, I got toddlers, Like, man, I'm supposed to be here, loving, hugging, that type of dad. And I was the exact opposite, So I knew there were problems when the kids wouldn't even like come to me for things. You know what I mean? I knew there were problems when me and the wife were just at each other's throats, right? Like constantly, man, like all day long. And I'm just like, I'll say, man, my favorite days were when I was home by myself. And that's crazy, That's crazy. Because there's so much on the surface that's looking great, Man, they got it all, you know what I mean? They got whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They're traveling, all this other stuff. But, dude, I was hurting, bro. I was suffering, man. And I didn't know what and I didn't know why, And that was an entire new journey for me that I'd never been on before, you know what I mean? Like, for me, dude, I grew up around men, My dad, there were 6 brothers on my dad's side, you know what I'm saying? My grandpa, like, it was men, dude, that I was raised by. Don't get me wrong, my mom is, she is solid as a rock, there's no questions asked. But I was raised by men, and you just don't, dude, you suck it up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Toughen it up, dude. Like, you know how much stuff I've been through? Yeah. I don't complain. I don't talk about it. I just let it happen, And for me, I don't know if I'm just wired different, but that just didn't sit good with me, And I'm like, it got to the point, dude, where I'm like, all right, I told it was, the drinking escalated, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I always say, I'm not like the addictive personality type, like if I wanted to stop cold turkey, I would stop cold turkey, but then eventually, you know what I'm saying? It would happen again and I stopped with that type of stuff. So it's just cyclic. And, I'm like, man, I'm having a great time at work. We're building the business, but I can't stand being home, I'd be at family gatherings, dude, and I'm like, man, let me go find the smallest corner and just leave me alone. You know what I mean? I'm sleepy, I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm all tripping, whatever it may be. And dude, it got to the point to where I literally told her, because we were so bad right here, we were so bad that I told her, I was like, listen, if you leave me, I won't blame you. I won't blame you. I said, because I'm a wreck and I don't know why. And it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, dude, they're like, literally, they'd be on their way home, and then they'd ask, in their younger selves, is daddy home? You know what I mean? And she'd say, yeah, and then, like, instantly, dude, like, the whole mood would change in the car, bro. I'm like, I'm at home, and I don't even know this is going on, And that, for me, dude, huge eye-opener, man. Because, like I said, man, family for me is just so big. So I had told her, I came to a point, and I'll tell you right now, one night I was literally laying in bed. Now, mind you, I told you how hard I worked for this, right? You know what I went through to get to this point. It was one night I was laying in bed, like 2 a.m. at the fire station, and I grabbed my phone, and I wrote my resignation letter on my phone in my notes. Don't know why, don't know how, have no clue. Can't explain it. And it sat there, right? But this goes back into manifestation. You know what I mean? Whether it's good or bad. It works both ways. You know what I mean? You don't look at it like that, right? So I got to the point, man, where I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So probably I'd say, about a month or so after, I wrote that, like, it just sat with me, bro. It just sat with me. And one morning I walked into the station where I leave here, drive into LA because that's where I work. I work right in West Side. And I drove into work and it was all super quiet. I normally listen to music, whatever. Dude, I'm just in my mind, bro. I'm in my head like crazy. I pull up to the station like on my normal routine. I walk in the door, and when I walked in the door, I just stood there with my duffel bag in my hand, and it's all the lights are off, guys are upstairs sleeping. I'm staring at the fire engine, and without a single doubt in my mind, that there was that voice right over my right shoulder, and it said, "Today is your last day here." Bro, mind you, like, I wrote the resignation. I had zero intention on anything like that happening. I didn't even tell Stephanie. She had no idea. Okay, but what do you got to do? You got to do it, bro. You got to do it. So I took the entire day, talking to my boys. I brought, because there was a core group of us that I love them dudes with all of my heart, man. You know, like they got me through it. I brought them into the room, and I just told them, I was like, guys, I can't explain it, but I gotta go. You know, I have to go. And you know, every last one of them was just like, I get it, you know, and like that entire day, it took me to figure out how in the world to take the time off that I needed, you know. And here's a question for you though: if you felt like when you remove yourself from a certain situation that's causing all the drama and all the extra, you feel like if you remove yourself from that situation, you would get better, right?
You would think so.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
Psh, bruh, that's when everything really started.
Wow.
That's when everything really started, because the one thing that I knew for I can't even tell you how long is now not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then is when all of that doubt just starts destroying my thought process. Bro, you're weak. What do you mean you're walking away? What do you mean you need time off? Like, man up, you know, get stronger. What the heck? Go do what you gotta do. You know, you're the provider, you know what I'm saying? What are you thinking? You know? What are you thinking? And dude, it was just, man, I was here all day long. And I told Steph, and this was the biggest turning point for me, is acknowledging to myself, I need help, right? Dude, that is the biggest thing that you could possibly do if you're in that feeling. You know what I'm saying? If you're in those emotions, if you're in that stress and anxiety and depression, bro, like I was at the bottom of the barrel, and I'm still looking for levels below that. You know what I'm saying? I can't even tell you how deep I was. Can't even explain it. I can't. But I got to that point where when I acknowledged it to myself, I was like, okay, I need help. I don't know what this is. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know anything. I just know I'm not me, you know? And then I sat with that for a while. And then I told Steph, you know, not too long after that, I was like, honey, I need help, right? Those three words right there, I need help, man, those are the three most powerful words you could possibly say. 100%. Because for me, it took the burden off of me, and now it was a shared responsibility, right? So I tell people, you know, people that I'm talking to about this all the time, I'm like, listen, everybody has one, right? If I ask you, Chris, who's your one? Like, you know exactly who I'm talking about, you know? That's my one, you know? Whether it's your wife, whether it's your best friend, whether it's a cousin, whether it's, you know, aunt or uncle, whether it's your mom or dad, you know? Everybody has one. For me, it was, you know, the person that I've been with, you know what I'm saying? We're going on 10 years this year. She was my one. So when I told her, that's when she just went into grind mode, dude. That's when she was like, okay, I got it. You know, I got it. And that's when I started going through, you know, the therapies and, you know, taking all the tests and feeling like a guinea pig. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the worst part for me, man. Yeah. That was the worst part for me. I'm like, I don't like any of this stuff. Feelings, you know? Come on, man. Right. I put them in my back pocket and just sit on them all day. That's what you do, right? That's what you're taught, you know? But for me, I couldn't just do that. And it was a big deal when I said, I need help, man. I need help.
You know, they say like one of the biggest downfalls for leaders is the fact that they don't reach out for help. They have too much ego, and they don't, like you said, they don't reach out for help.
Yeah.
They don't ask for help.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah. So when I said that, man, that was the start of that next journey, that next season. You know what I mean? In life, and you know, I know, you know, talking to the guys out there, dude, if you got that, you'd be surprised how strong she is. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't give her a chance to show that strength, bro, you know, it's like, dude, you got a monster in your corner. But if you don't let her, you know, if you don't unleash that, if you don't let her get to that point, man, there's no telling what you could have accomplished. You know what I'm saying? If you just put away your ego, you know? And when I said that to her, that's when she just completely changed the game. Totally changed the game. She took care of all my appointments. She took care of this. She literally told me, she said, listen, if I have to work 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, I'm going to do that. Because money is not where my heart is. My heart is us and the kids, you know? And I mean, mind you, like, not too long before, I literally gave her permission to walk out on me. And she was pretty damn close to taking that opportunity. And I wouldn't have blamed her, you know? And that gave her that opportunity to be like, you know what? If I could have a direct impact on literally bringing us back together again, shoot, I'd be crazy not to take it.
Right.
Crazy not to take it.
Right. That's crazy. So we got about like 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
So now let's flip it around and finish off kind of positive. So from that, what did you learn and where are you going from there?
So the biggest takeaway that I had was, if you stay in your own mind, bro, that's the most dangerous place that you could possibly be. If you're in that mode, right? Yeah. So for me, after going through everything, like, I was officially diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety, right? So for me, it was like, man, that sounds like 3 life sentences. You know what I mean? I'm like, great, well, I'm screwed for life, you know? Wonderful. I'm just gonna be this dude. I'm gonna be this way forever, you know? All right, babe, just live with it. You know what I mean? And that was what it was. So now I'm like, not only can I not get out of it by myself, right? I can't talk to anybody about it. I didn't feel like. On top of that, they actually told me what it is. You know what I mean? So now I'm just like really in it, bro. You know? And I mean, mind you, like, dude, I've had some anxiety attacks that were crippling. Like, don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? I didn't even get into that part. And there were times, you know, for me, dude, where it was like, you have to get out of your head, man, you know? But when you start telling yourself, you know, those negative things all the time, where's the room for positivity?
Right.
There isn't any. You know what I mean?
They say, I think I was talking to you about it. We have like 60 to 80,000
thoughts
a day, and 80% of them are like 90% of them are negative.
Right.
And we can't juggle 2 thoughts at once.
No, you can't.
So
you
why
can't.
put all your energy towards those negative thoughts? You know.
And the thing too is, man, is I honestly felt like my mind betrayed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I couldn't trust myself. You know what I mean? I couldn't, because all the thoughts and emotions and stuff that, like, I'm not used to having. You know, like, I'm not that dude. I'm the guy. You know, I'm the positive. I'm the smiley all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, this is what I had to do, is I literally had to change my story, bro. I had to change what I'm telling myself every day, right? So PTSD, right? Everyone knows what that stands for, post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what it is, right? And I literally said, you know what? And I mean, it's been going on about 2 years now for me, where I'm like, all right, this needs to mean something else. Like, I'm not going through this for nothing, right? So I literally just sat down. I said, man, like, we just a little thought here, a little thought there every day, dude, just starts really getting you back on that track, you know? Because I'd say that, dude, there's certain days where you might only go a millimeter, but then there's other days where you might go a mile. You know what I mean?
It's a step in the right
But it's a step in the right direction, dude. Always take that step, right? So for me, I literally changed the acronym PTSD from post-traumatic stress disorder, and now for me, it stands for pushing towards success daily. That's what it means. Yes, I have PTSD. I'm pushing towards success daily. Yes, I have mental health. Man, I can't be any more mentally sharp right now. I hate how mental health right now is such a negative connotation. When you think of physical health, like I was saying, like we talked about the other day. When you talk about physical health, man, you think about, you know, NBA players, you think about NFL, you think about, you know, top tier athletes. But then when you hear mental health, what do you think about?
It's negative.
Everything. Why aren't they parallel? Why aren't they on the same plane? You know? And my whole reason right now, and I mean, this is once again that vision, bro. Like, it can't be any clearer right now. The whole reason for me going through what I went through is to help other people that are where I used to be, man. You know, 100%. Like, I know for a absolute fact. That's why that's why we're writing the book right now. We're almost finished with it, you know? That's why I'm launching our e-course, that we're almost finished with that too, you know? Dude, it's like, listen, if it doesn't work for you necessarily, I mean, this isn't no therapy stuff. I mean, a doctor, I'm just a dude who went through a crazy experience, and I'm just sharing what worked for me, right? There's plenty of people who's like, man, that was amazing. It worked. Like, thank you so much. And there's other people, you know what? No, it wasn't necessary for me. But at least you're on the right track to look to get better. You know what I'm saying? That's the important part. Take a step, man. You got to do it. You got to do it. We're releasing our documentary on top of that too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, dude, it's one of those things where, like, we are just bare, bro. Like, this is us. You know, this is exactly what it is that we are and who we are, you know? Right. And for me, man, like, just talking to your listeners, like, you got to change your story. You have to start telling yourself something else, you know? You have to. And my story isn't any better than anybody else's. It's not any worse than anybody else's. It's just my story, right. You know? And I'm proud of my story. And I mean, just to give you a context of it, dude, this is 5 years. This wasn't a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't like, dude, this was a 5-year, like, I was at a mental peak, bro. You know? Physical, mental, emotional. Like, it was humming. And, dude, I went through a mental hell. I went through the deepest valley I could have even possibly imagined. And now, I'll tell you 100%, today, I don't remember the last time I felt this good.
Wow.
Okay? 100%. But now, mind you, I'm not at the same peak that I was at. I'm at a different peak because I went through a brand new journey, dude. Yeah, I went through a valley. Why would I turn around and go back up to the same peak? Right. That's backtracking. Wow. I'm on a brand new peak, dude. And I know there's going to be a valley that comes. However, I feel like I'm a lot better equipped
to prepare for it.
To deal with it, to deal with it, to handle it. You know? They're not problems, they're challenges. If you got problems, then those are things that you might not ever get out of. If you look at them as a challenge, like, man, I'm stronger than that. I could do that, you know? And that's the way that I'm looking at it now, dude. 100%.
That's really powerful stuff. It's about that time, but I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
And I always have my guests leave one piece of advice for the audience. It could be literally anything, just quick.
Okay.
Whatever you want to tell the audience. Leave one thing that they can apply to their life.
You got to do it.
Got to do it.
That's it. That's it. You have to do it, man.
That's good.
Okay? Yeah. Because if you don't, somebody else is going to do it. And you're going to be the dude on the couch watching Shark Tank when that was your idea in the first place.
Yeah.
But if you don't act on it,
for sure,
you can't complain about it.
I mean, I had a ton of other things to ask you.
We can do a part 2 if you want to.
No, I'm serious. We're going to have to do a part 2 with your wife. And, like, because I had so much more to talk to you about and, like, ask you. And I know you had, like, a lot more to say. But I appreciate you. And if you guys love the episode, please share it with somebody. Please leave a rating and review. And on that note, I'll catch y'all next week.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Cool. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. That was fun, though.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
Cool.
Babe, what you think? Was I talking too much, like you say?
Way too much.
I was watching the time the whole time. I was like, dang.
We could have had a 4-hour episode.
No, I thought it was gonna be 4 hours. That's crazy.